Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Necromaniacs Horror Podcast. It's Necro Thursday once again, and we're here bringing you the finest in horror podcasting. This is a special episode, which I'm really stoked about. You got all three of us together talking about Longlegs, a movie that seems to be the talk of the town these days. How's it going, man?
Good.
Yeah, it's going good. Great to be here with the two of you. It's been a minute since we've done a three-way episode, so I'm excited to talk about Longlegs, man. Movie that I feel like I think about every day since I've seen it.
Yeah, I've been very curious to hear you guys' thoughts about this because the opinions there are all over the place on this one.
I mean, my opinion alone has changed over the last several weeks since I saw it. I saw it a couple weeks ago, and like, I kind of we'll get into it, but my opinion has kind of gone cyclically up and down like a sine wave around this.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
I'll say out of the gate, it's like the opinion on it has gotten better actually over time.
Okay.
As opposed to my walking out of the theater feeling, which was one way that I'll talk about. But my opinion now is that, like, I don't know. I'm like, it's just so many layers, and it's like a wild ass original fucking great horror movie. I'll say it. It's a great movie, I
thought. What have you guys been checking out?
Well,
sorry, Mike, you go first.
Yeah. I just saw Maxine. I did it streaming. I rented it, and that was something I kind of wanted to see in the movie theater, but it just my boycott on AMC prohibited me from going to see it. So so I ended up renting it, and I dug it, and I can't wait for us to talk about that one. That was a really good movie. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I watched it last night. I tried to watch it when I got back home from work at 7 a.m. and passed out during the opening credits. So I watched it. I watched it last night, and Mike, I agree with you. I liked it a lot. I'm a little confused about the hate it's getting, but I'm sure we're going to talk about it eventually. So I'll save my thoughts for that.
I haven't seen it yet, but I did mention in one of the episodes we did about how I was almost very surprised that some people were like, it's the worst of the three or whatever the hell, So I'm probably going to see it this week. I'm going into it excited and optimistic. So, and the fact that you guys both liked it a lot, will probably mean I'm going to like it a lot as well. But like I said, going in with clear head.
I'd be surprised if you didn't like it.
From the beginning, it has everything I like about those types of films, and it's got a pretty good cast too, and actually a lot of surprise actors, because I tried not to read too much about it because I genuinely was looking forward to seeing it, and so I had no idea who some of the actors were in the movie. I just knew that Mia Goth was in it, and but yeah, some really cool characters, really cool actors. I mean, we'll do a whole rundown of the whole thing, but it was just I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun watching it.
Yeah. Anything else?
Well, the wrap up of House of the Dragon just happened, and that's good show. Season finale, a little disappointing, but what are you gonna do?
Yes. Yeah, agree. But I'll say this. The season I'm very up and down on, gotta be honest. I really like season 1. Season 2, I've been very, very like strange feelings on it, because some episodes I was just like, why am I watching this show? However, there was a lot of excitement in the finale for like 85% of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a very good episode, but the ending was very strange because it leaves you really like, is this how this is ending for season 2? It just leaves it with a complete. My brother John Draper called it a trailer for season 3 and not an episode. So, that was kind of one way of looking at it. But it was a good episode, though, Mike. Right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I was like really anticipating something, and it just didn't happen. And now I got to wait another year.
Or 2 years. That's the fucking problem. That is the problem with some of these big tentpole shows on, some of the streamers. Is that, like, I mean, look at Stranger Things. I don't even know when the last one was. What is it? 100 years ago? Like, they take too long. They take too fucking long. And sometimes some of these companies wonder, why aren't the ratings what they used to be? And it's like, because people don't want to wait that long. What do you think about that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the next season's coming out in 2026, man. Who knows what the hell? I might not even be alive in 2026. Who knows? You know?
I
Right,
think the
right.
same thing when they said that the next Batman movie isn't coming until 2026. I'm like, I'll be fucking 50 years old. like, like literally, like, I felt like I was like 42 when the last one came out. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like the decision for it to be, say, a 6 episode or an 8 episode, I almost feel like maybe put more episodes in the tank so that you don't have to have these tremendous gaps. But hey, what do I know? I don't run a studio, right?
Yeah,
I'm a fan.
exactly, man. And
Mm.
oh, and this not so interested in you, Mike, but Jeff, you'll be interested in this. I ran into our mutual friend Randy Larson up in Connecticut at the record store.
Yes, you both mentioned this to me.
Yeah, just
Um,
yesterday. I was in Springfield, Massachusetts for work, and I realized I was probably really close to his record store, and I stopped in, said hello to him. It was great. Bought a bunch of records. I got
mm.
the church soundtrack, the Maniac
Oh wow.
soundtrack, and
Ooh.
Death Wish 2 soundtrack.
Oh, killer,
Hmm.
man.
And that's
Yeah.
Nice, nice grab.
little that's Little Lost Records in Stafford Springs, Connecticut, by the way,
Yes.
for people
Eh,
listening.
So if you're traveling through Connecticut, for sure go check it out.
Awesome, man.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
I really want to get up there and see. I haven't been back to Connecticut in quite a few years at this point, and I really wanted to check Randy's shop out. I do, however, I have contributed to the record store. I got them a bunch of ISIS vinyl because I got a fucking ton of it here. And it's just taking up space. I'm like, hey guys, you got a record store? You want some records? So
Mm.
a little bit of me is there.
Oh, that's cool. Right on.
Yeah, that's awesome. Uh, Mike Scandato, what have you been checking out?
Last week, Stella and I watched Beverly Hills Cop Axel F on Netflix,
Ah,
and gotta say, awesome. I really enjoyed it. Um,
oh, great.
yes, a lot of fun. It brings back, of course, not just Eddie Murphy. They bring back Judge Reinhold. They bring back John Astin and Paul Reiser. A lot of nods to the original. Even Bronson Pinchot as Surge
Oh
is in the
wow.
film. So it has the music with a slight little upgrade to it, that cool theme song. Um, Kevin Bacon is a bad guy in the movie. Of course, the ubiquitous Kevin Bacon. A lot of fun, gotta say. So check out the new Beverly Hills Cop on Netflix. If like probably Mike and Jeff might have grown up seeing the OGs. So
Oh yeah,
this
definitely.
this this series might have a bit of a nostalgia feel, but honestly, I think anyone would probably enjoy this movie. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I am relieved to hear that John Ashton isn't dead because I thought he was.
Yes, yeah, dude. I was shocked myself, but dude, it's a lot of fun. Eddie Murphy has a adult daughter that plays into it, and it was really cool.
Yeah, it's hard to fathom that Eddie Murphy's in his 60s now. Because when I saw the trailer for it, I was like, man, is Eddie Murphy like still like in his 40s somehow? Like,
Yeah, he looks amazing. He
oh,
looks amazing. He recently married like a longtime girlfriend that he has a child with, like like a baby or young child. But he has like a bunch of sons and daughters, and he's had a wonderful career, wonderful life. Love Eddie Murphy.
me too. One of the greats to ever do stand up
Oh my
without
God,
question.
yes. Hell yeah. Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Anything
But
else?
aside from that, the new Batman on Amazon Prime, the animated show. What the hell is it
I
actually called?
think it's called Batman the Cape
Batman Cape
Crusader.
Crusader. Yeah,
Yeah.
Batman Cape Crusader. Fucking great. If you like the Batman the animated series, you should be watching this. It's really cool. Um, it's weird. It's kind of like an early days Batman, but it touches on all the main villains, and it's got Catwoman, and it's got Barbara Gordon, it's got a female Penguin, which is kind of cool and different, voiced by Minnie Driver,
Mm.
Harley Quinn, of course. I mean, the whole gang is here. But I love Batman. I love DC shit, so super into it. Check it out on
Yeah.
Amazon. Batman Cape Crusader.
I will be checking that out. I would say I didn't know that show existed until like I saw something on the internet calling it Woke Man, which made me
No,
laugh.
they changed some races, and they changed Penguin to woman, but that's about it. That's really all they did. So it's really not that woke at all to me, honestly.
I
And I
fi-
would say if it was, yeah,
I figured that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of
But if
Bat,
you're into the DC shit and Batman shit, I mean, it's a lot of fun. Again, oddly, it is not on Max, who owns DC. It is on Amazon Prime. So yeah,
Oh,
I think that. Yeah, it's
that's
on
weird.
Prime. Yeah, I think they sold it. Like they sold this particular show to Amazon for coin, obviously, for a chunk of change. But
Hmm.
their loss is Amazon's game because it's doing very well.
Hmm. It's good to
speaking of
hear.
Batman, I just subscribed to that Legends of Batman thing that's going around with the
Hmm.
for like it's like $5 a month, and you get a hardcover deluxe version of the key Batman stories, comic books. And
Mike, was that an ad on Instagram that you found that on, or how did you find that?
someone was talking about it on a podcast, and then I think Kevin Smith might have been mentioning it.
Okay,
And
I feel
and
like I
then
saw something on Instagram. Yeah,
oh
yeah.
no, there is, and then probably because of the podcast, something popped up on Instagram, and then I investigated it a little bit, and it
Hmm.
turns out to be like this legit thing. And so yeah, it's like the first issue showed up, and yeah, it's like year zero, like hardcover, deluxe format, nice paper, really cool.
Awesome. Oh,
Cool.
very cool. I may do that. If it's 5 a month, that's fucking dude, hardcovers are 30 bucks or more.
Yeah, no,
So
I
that's
think
fucking
it's
killer.
totally
Hmm.
worth it, and if you don't want to do it anymore, you can just cancel your subscription. But $5 a month, that's like, a cup of coffee, really, at Starbucks,
Yeah.
$5.
Yeah, it's nothing. Yeah.
I almost wish Marvel would do that with some of the key, 80s, 90s fucking stories. That would be amazing, but maybe they will.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, that
Uh,
would be, I have a lot of this stuff already, but it's always there's like extra stuff and like covers and little forewords by different people. I'm a sucker
Hmm.
for that shit.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I
very cool.
Real quick, I checked out a couple things in my week in between jobs. Actually, I watched a lot of stuff, but a couple of things worth mentioning. On HBO Max, I saw a movie I knew nothing about. I don't know why I decided to watch it. I just did. It was called Knox Goes Away, starring and directed by Mr. Michael Keaton, Mr. Batman himself.
Oh wow.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, and I gotta say, man, it was really good. I liked it a lot. Michael Keaton plays a hitman who is diagnosed with this advanced form of dementia.
Oh man.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it was like I could see it being like one of these kind of throwaway streaming movies that like that, just like, yeah, that was fine. But this was, I mean, it was better. It was that, but it was a better version of that. And I think that all comes down to Michael Keaton's performance, and he's quite good behind the camera. I think he did a really good job directing this movie. And while it's not a horror movie, I think it's well worth anyone's who's listening. It's well worth your time. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and it's on Max, not HBO Max. It's just Max now, right?
Yeah, they changed the name. Correct.
Yeah, yeah, makes no sense to me, but whatever. Okay. And over on Tubi, finished watching something called RoboDoc. Have either of you guys seen this?
No.
RoboDoc? No.
Hmm.
RoboDoc. Yes, it is a 4-part documentary on the making of Paul Verhoeven's
Ooh.
1987 fucking masterpiece, RoboCop.
Man.
Hmm.
And man, I mean, we're all roughly, same age. We all probably grew up watching the first movie as kids. And if you're anything like me, you were obsessed with RoboCop, when you were like, 11, 12 years old or whatever. So this documentary is for anyone who loves that movie. It's very, very complete, goes into every aspect of the movie, about what a fucking nightmare it was making the movie. Everyone hated each other on set, apparently. It was Peter Weller scene comes off like a complete fucking lunatic. I really, really enjoyed it. And I've been said like some of these documentaries that are coming out on streaming services are way too long. I could have watched 4 more episodes about this. It was really, really, really good.
I am all
Hmm.
about that, man. I definitely got to
Mm,
Yeah,
see
I
it.
would check that out.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's Tubi, so it's free. So totally encourage you to check it out. And I don't remember if I mentioned this on the last show, but since we're speaking about Batman, I did watch the Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earth, the 3-part animated film.
Oh, I
And
watched part one. Mm.
I liked it a lot. I liked all 3 segments quite a bit. Very, very good.
Yeah, I like part one. I know a bunch of people I know didn't because they've completely kind of changed Crisis on Infinite Earth, but whatever. I still like it for what it is and all the changes and shit. Again, big DC guy, so just to see anything kind of played out that was a cool story. I'm into it. I need
Yeah.
to watch part 2 and 3. Listeners, this is still a horror podcast, just so you know. We did grow up with comics. We read comics as men, and we do love comics. But do not be deterred. We love horror, and this is a horror podcast, right, guys?
That's right.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, yes.
absolutely.
So don't turn off yet. Don't punch out. This is going to be a good episode. God damn it! Thank you.
Hey man,
Before
I
we
think
go,
RoboCop counts as a horror movie.
oh yeah,
Yes,
absolutely, dude.
we covered it on in year one, Mike. So right, didn't we? Didn't we cover?
Yeah, we
We
did. We
covered
did.
both the OG. That was in our twofer days. We covered the original and the remake. Yeah.
Before
All
we
right.
get too far along, let's give our shout outs. You know, as you guys all know, we are part of a gang of elite content creators at war with mediocrity.
Mhm.
And there's quite a battle these days, battling mediocrity, I think. So you know, we got our work cut out for us. So kicking things off on Monday, every other Monday, we have Horror Wolf 666, brought to you by Brandon Legion. And then what's next on Tuesday, Mike?
On Tuesday, we have the greatest metal podcast in the land, Into the Necrosphere, with the lovely and talented Jackie Smith. Check it out for all your extreme metal needs. What about Wednesday?
Well, Wednesday is Everything Went Black. That's I started that podcast what, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago maybe at this
So
point.
35, yeah.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah, it's a kind of you get what you get on that show, man. I cover a lot of different stuff. So it's sometimes from week to week I have no idea what I'm doing, but somehow I get an episode out every week.
Yes, indeed. There's your Wednesday. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for Everything
Real,
Went Black.
we also have on Wednesday Iblis Manifestation with Cheyenne. That's his
Oh,
day
okay.
that he's selected Wednesday as his day. So you get a two
Oh,
for
excellent.
yeah.
Very cool. Thursday, it's the Necromaniacs horror podcast, not comic book podcast, horror podcast that you're listening to right now. Please be sure to subscribe and check it out every single Thursday. On Friday, we have my brother from my actual mother, Mr. John Draper, and the Spitball Media podcast. Um, Spitball Media dives a lot deeper into the kind of stuff that we were literally just talking about 5 minutes ago. Would you agree, Mike Hill?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. They go a little
Yeah.
bit deeper into that. Yep.
Like they'll talk about the streamers, they'll talk about what's hot on the streamers, they'll talk about what's not, and comic books, comic book movies, The Boys, Game of Thrones. Like they talk about all that kind of stuff. It's a really kind of fun, different podcast. Spitball Media. Saturday, take a break, go out, enjoy late summer. But on Sunday, what do they got on Sunday, Mike?
Well, Sunday is Soul Knox, brought to you by Carl Hikara. And that's actually Sunday and Thursday are Carl's days for putting episodes out. And that's for all things dark, mysterious, esoteric, weird. And Carl and I are in the middle of doing our Darkness Weaves collaboration, which is an exploration of the work of Carl Edward Wagner. And right now we're working through the short stories of Cain, probably his most famous character. Um, Actually, almost done with the short stories, and the next thing is the novels. So we'll be those will probably be some 2-part episodes coming up.
Oh, awesome. Very
Awesome,
cool.
awesome. And I would like to point out to anyone listening, I was just the guest on the Horror Wolf podcast where we covered the new Stephen King short story collection.
Oh, very
That was,
cool.
that was a spirited discussion you guys had.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Expect more of those.
Yeah.
Real quick, I got a question for you,
Go
Jeff.
right ahead, man.
Well, both of you, because you probably could both answer it. I have not read Stephen King in a very, very, very long time. Yes or no? Does he still got it?
Mike, what do you say?
Well, I would say have you read Revival?
That's the one that's literally one of the ones I do want to read.
Yeah, dude,
I've heard so much about it.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite books he's ever written, man, and that came out in the later part of his career. I have not read his new collection. I will read it this year, but I have not read it as of yet.
Okay.
No, short answer, no. He doesn't still have it.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Hey.
Yeah,
it happens. Speaking of Stephen King, our friend Brian Keene, who I almost see as the modern Stephen King to a degree, of course. He is bringing back his podcast, the Horror Show.
Great.
Apparently, he made a little short post about it. Yeah.
Hell yeah,
So,
man. I love that.
Looking
love that
forward to
podcast.
that. Yeah. And he's doing another podcast. He's into survival stuff, but not in like the bizarre way, called How to Survive 2025. He's not a survival nut. I will not use that term about him, but he knows a lot about that kind of stuff and prepping. So he's doing one podcast for that called How to Survive 2025. And then he said, when he made a little post about that, he goes, "Oh, and by the way, the horror show's coming back." So I'm excited about both, actually, because I would like to hear him, talk about survival stuff. That's kind of interesting to
me. I'm signing up for both of those, man.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Hell yeah. That should be very cool. So welcome back, Brian Keane. Yeah.
So before we get into the voicemails, we got a request from a listener, and I don't know. I just got to bring this up. I don't know if we will be able to oblige, but one request came in. I think it was via Messenger, possibly on Instagram. Giving a heads up about what movies are going to be doing, but so they can watch the movies and not get spoiled when we talk about them. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I think you guys out there give us way too much credit for being organized.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can only see the text messages, but I'll say this. I was talking to John Draper today, right? And we were rattling off everything that's coming out between now and the end of the year. And it's like 6 bangers, basically, that I would say that we would probably definitely be covering, say, all 6 of these movies. And they include Terrifier 3. It includes Nosferatu. It includes the new Alien movie. Then there's the Speak No Evil, whatever remake, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
That. Then there's that one, The Substance, the new body horror movie.
Yep.
With Demi Moore and the chick from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which looks amazing. I sent you guys that trailer.
Yep.
And then there's yet another one. Oh, there's that new one with Hugh Grant. Did you guys see that trailer?
I before I saw the movie we're about to talk about, they played that trailer. Yeah.
Oh my God, Heretic. That looks fucking awesome. And the 6th movie is Cuckoo. That's 6 fucking movies between now and December that I could probably say, yes, we're going to cover all 6 of those movies. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. And I also want to throw Oddity in there too, man. That movie looks awesome.
Yes. John mentioned that too, and I was like, God damn it, man,
dude. And there's movies that came out earlier this year that we haven't covered that we should cover, such as The Exorcist. And,
right. Yeah. Oh, guys, I watched First Omen.
Oh, nice.
Oh wait, did I say The Exorcist?
Oh, you said
no, that was from like last year. Yeah, I meant the Omen, the new Omen film. Yeah.
We did The
But
Omen.
Oh wait,
no,
we
you
did
guys
that.
did it. Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
did it. That's what I'm getting
What
to.
the fuck is wrong with me, man? Oh my god. Yeah, why didn't we do that one? Oh man. God,
That was
Yeah,
good.
I think I definitely have gotten hit in the head too many times, man. That's for sure.
Mr. Hill, you were definitely right about the Italian moments and
Oh yeah.
Euro horror moments in the movie. 100%, actually. I totally got that vibe at many points in the film. And ultimately, I did like the slight retcon of with the jackal, the jackal nod and the ending. And I really liked that Rogue One-ish bring you right to the beginning of the next movie kind of feel at the end. I actually thought it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as of now, it's in my top 6. But with all these movies coming out that you mentioned, who knows? It's a packed year.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, geez. I don't even know if I mean, Late Night with the Devil, it could get lost in the fucking shuffle, man.
Dude.
Think about
And
it.
then also there's Immaculate, which is like the low rent version of Omen.
Yes. I still need to see that too. Right. Exactly. So, listener, there's there's been a healthy amount of older films this year. Okay. But there's going to be a healthy amount of new films. If that helps you at all,
I would love
you
to
guys
say
agree?
I would love to say yes, but I
Hmm.
just I just as much as we try, we can never get our schedule together. Like sometimes it's like some you guys don't we're showing you a little bit a look behind the curtain here. Sometimes there have been times where we've recorded an episode on Tuesday that comes out on Thursday.
Yeah. Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
So it's like that happens more than I like to admit, but I would
Hmm.
love to be able to give you guys a preview, but sometimes we really are shooting from the hip, man.
Yeah, we all have very, very different schedules, and mine just drastically changed. So, we're trying
Yeah.
to figure that out. But we will, we'll get into a good pattern soon. I'm very confident of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That Heretic trailer was great, by the way, right before Longlegs. They played it in my theater too, Jeff.
Yeah, fucking really looking forward to that.
Mm.
All right, so
All
let's
right.
hit a couple of these voicemails. So if you guys want to reach out to us, you can hit us up at 908-913-0782. That's 908-913-0782. We got two returning callers. Up first, we got Tavis from the Pittsburgh area.
How's it going, gentlemen? It's Tavis from Pittsburgh. Just calling in and say what's up. Really enjoying the shows the last few weeks, man. You guys have been covering some staples. Just listened to today's about Torso. Thought that was good, man. Like I said, I've always described that movie as a giallo for people who don't really like giallos. I don't know. Good movie though. I'm a fan. Also really dug the Creature from the Black Lagoon episode. That's probably my favorite Universal monsters. I don't know. It's always just sort of been near and dear to me, that series specifically. But something kind of interesting of note, Rico Browning, who of course played the underwater creature, directed a pretty cool regional like exploitation film from 1974 called Mr. No Legs. Master Video put it out, so you can find it out there. It's pretty entertaining. Definitely worth a watch. Been trying to catch up on some stuff on Shudder, and I guess this would fall into your Australian horror for maybe upcoming episodes would be that movie Loop Track, and it was entirely not what I was expecting at all, and ended up really liking it. So if you haven't checked that out yet, I'd give it a watch. Then I watched this movie on there called Gateway, which was kind of weird. Had a cool atmosphere, but it was only like 80 minutes, and it moved pretty fast. But if you're in the mood for something sort of like still and kind of eerie, sort of weird, definitely worth a watch. But also did something recently that I would not recommend to anyone. I watched the first 9 witchcraft films, working night shifts, and I guess I needed to have something to help me pass out. But really bad. But don't suggest to anyone doing that. But you guys have a good one. Thanks again for the shows, and talk to you soon. Have a good one, guys. Bye bye.
Thanks for calling in, Tavis. Awesome hearing from you. Mr. No Legs. Have you heard of any of these? Have you heard of this film, any of you guys?
No, Mr. No Legs, which bears quite a resemblance to Longlegs. No.
Hmm.
Yeah. I actually started watching The Gateway on Shudder, but I passed out like maybe 15 minutes into it, so I was like
Mm.
started the movie too late. Next thing you know, I was asleep. But it looked really cool. It had like a very quiet sort of like kind of brooding like vibe to it. So I'm definitely going to go back to it. And I got to say, man, if you want more Aussie stuff, we're going to give you a heads up right now.
Mhm.
Next week, tune in because me and Jeff and our friend Selden Hunt are bringing you some Australian stuff. So
Mm.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very fun thing. That was great.
Yeah.
Nice. That's in the can, as they say.
Yeah, we record it. We're gonna do a few of these like Mayhem Down Under episodes because of just it's almost like a separate genre, like Australian. It's like it's hard to put your finger on it. It's like it's horror adjacent, but it's still horror in a lot of ways. You know what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
no,
say?
Mm,
absolutely. Having
mm.
seen a few, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And
And
then there are some straight up like Australian horror films that rule too. You know, like Lake Mungo. You know,
Mm. Oh,
yeah.
I
yeah.
wouldn't, but I wouldn't put that in the same category as these films. These are like like tough guy, like dark, brutal, bleak films. And so we picked out a couple of these movies and we're going to get together and talk about them. And a guy that actually I consider Selden to be like he's the one who told me about most of these movies. He made all these suggestions to me and he also has an insight because especially in the first movie that we're going to be talking about, he was around living in Australia at the time that the true events of that movie happened. So it's kind of interesting to
Ah,
hear.
there's the connection. Got it.
Yeah, yeah. He's Australian, so he understands like a lot of the behind, the kind of stuff that maybe as Americans you wouldn't get. So there's like a cool like perspective that he brings to it.
Excellent. Looking
Absolutely.
forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So up next we got Stuart.
Hey, Necromaniacs. This is Stuart calling back in from outside San Francisco over here. I really like the American Psycho episode. I haven't thought about that movie in some time. However, I did actually watch the Mario Bava movie you mentioned, Hatchet for the Honeymoon. I bought it on Blu-ray during the quarantine when I was kind of on a Bava kick, and I definitely did think about American Psycho when I was watching the film because the main character he has this kind of internal dialogue that is very Patrick Bateman reminiscent. It's very similar. So I was kind of cool to hear that was kind of an inspiration for the film version of American Psycho. I also wanted to clarify something I mentioned last time about the Jess Franco movie, A Virgin Among the Living Dead. So there actually are two versions of that movie. If you get the Redemption DVD or Blu-ray, whatnot, and it's under the title A Virgin Among the Living Dead, and you just play it, the director's cut, Christina, Princess of Eroticism, plays. So what happened was Jess Franco wanted to call the movie Night of the Shooting Stars, and the production company, I think, retitled it Christina, Princess of Eroticism. And then they retitled it again for the American drive-in audience to A Virgin Among the Living Dead. But then they said, well, we have this movie that has Living Dead in the title, but there are no zombies in the movie. So they employed the skills of the French director, Jean Rollin. Sorry, France. He shot some additional footage with zombies and this kind of weird orgy in a park and inserted it into the film, which, by itself, the footage is kind of interesting. It's included as a bonus on the DVD I have, but it really makes no sense because Jess Franco's movie is not a zombie movie. So I just thought I would clarify that a bit. I know you guys probably got recommendations up the yin yang at this point, but I did want to mention I watched this movie actually with my dad, who I was hanging out with, called What You Wish For, which had the actor Nick Stahl in it, who came up previously on the show, I think in the What Hosea Saw episode. That's a really cool movie. I think you guys would enjoy it. I don't want to say too much about it because it's a newer movie.
Great hearing from you again, Stuart. And yeah, man, American Psycho. It's sometimes a forgotten classic. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I saw it in the theater with my buddy Brian Shank. You know, I think the week it came out, we saw it actually. And I was already a big fan of the book. I read the book in like 91 when I was like 18. And I got to meet, what do you call it? The author, of course, Bret Easton Ellis. And he signed my American Psycho, and I had him put "This is not an exit" in the book, of course. So that was very cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This film that you keep talking about, man, A Virgin Among the Living Dead, aka Christina, Princess of Eroticism, aka Night of the Shooting Stars, the Jess Franco film. It sounds so intriguing, man, but I'm looking for it, and it's like it's kind of there's some hard copies of it out there. You know what I mean?
Yes, there are.
Yeah.
It's one that I'm
wanna check this
familiar with,
out.
but never seen. Yeah, he has 800 movies.
Yeah.
That's one of the titles that I am familiar with. I never actually saw that one. I don't know it's like Blu-ray status or whatever. I just saw one of his films, The Girl from Rio from 1968, is getting the deluxe treatment from Blue Underground with the 4K Ultra HD and all that. That's another one that I never actually got to see. It's a spy film by Jess Franco that looks fucking awesome as hell that I almost made blind by. So yeah, we should dip our toes into some Jess Franco stuff in the future.
Oh, totally, man. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I really dig these kind of like offshoot explorations that we do. Like Mike, you and I are doing the Italian stuff. You know, we're doing these
Yeah.
giallos. You know, and
Mhm.
me and Jeff, along with Selden, are doing these like tough guy like Australian films. You know what I mean? And it's like
Mm.
we should do another strand on Jess Franco, and also a whole like South American stuff, man. Like I am just not well versed in any of that stuff. I think we've had other guys call in, like Mike called in but with
Mm.
recommendations of like South American films. And I'm like, I just don't have the knowledge, man. I think I'm missing out on a lot.
Yeah, then there's another guy I'd like to do some stuff on, Paul Naschy.
Oh,
He's,
totally.
yes, I would like to I own a bunch of his DVDs. I don't think maybe some Blu-rays, but yeah, his shit is fucking amazing too. So it's just there's so much out there. But when we're gonna get clobbered by some good new stuff, sometimes the older stuff takes a backseat. But we at Necromaniacs vow to continue to cover the old and the new. Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, that movie What You Wish For sounds cool as well. I mean, Nick Stahl has sort of like a resurgence in his career, man, and like I thought he was great in What Josiah Saw. That movie in general, I thought was a very unforgettable film. It's something I've
Yeah.
watched. I go back to that one because it's such a intense, like heavy, like atmosphere to it.
Very
was
good
very
in
good.
Hunter x Hunter as well.
Yeah, Hunter x Hunter. Yep, that was a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And Stuart, you got cut off, dude. So that very last thing that you're saying, you only got a certain amount of minutes on these voicemails, man. And unfortunately, a little bit of it got cut off, but we'll catch you next time, bro.
For future reference listeners, I believe it is 3 minutes, Mike. No,
Yeah.
I feel like whenever I see it come up, it looks like there's only a 3 minute or 3 and change kind of
Yeah.
mark. Yeah.
So you got like 3 minutes, man, and that's it. So yeah. But yeah, well,
thank you for calling.
definitely looking forward to hearing from you again, Stuart. But yeah, sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Thanks for the fucking support, man.
Yeah. So now to our feature film for this week. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, the Long Legs, brought to us by Oz Perkins, written and directed by Oz Perkins, produced by Nicolas Cage. And this film was released on July 12th, 2024. So we're covering this film. It's a brand new film. I think it's still in the theaters too, as a time of this recording.
Yeah. It's still playing by me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big hit too.
Yeah. 101
Budget of 10
minutes.
million. Yes. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. $10 million budget. It'll probably hit the 100 million mark in the next week or so. So insane money.
Pretty awesome. I'm happy that it's so successful. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So cast, we got Micah Monroe. Is that how you pronounce her name?
Yeah,
As
Micah Monroe.
Lee Harker. We have Nicolas Cage as Dale Cobble, also known as Longlegs. Blair Underwood as Agent William J. Carter. Alicia Witt as Ruth Harker, which is Lee's mother. And those are basically the main characters in this film.
Yeah, I remember Alicia Witt from a bunch of movies in the O's. She was like unrecognizable here, you know? She at one point she was pegged to play Mary Jane in the original Spider-Man movies, but she lost out to what's her name? Yeah.
Yeah.
She was almost going to her. Yeah.
A little young to be playing the mom, I thought. One thing I noticed when watching it, a very minor criticism.
Yeah, she's 48 and Micah Monroe is 30, so it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. But yeah, probably a little young. A little young.
Yeah.
But she was awesome. Yeah.
So this film, all right, so did you guys all see this in a theater?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I'm glad I saw it in the movie theater.
Yeah,
Interesting thing about seeing this in the movie theater, it was a 35 millimeter print that we were watching. Okay. Because our eyes are so accustomed to watching digital, you can watching a film, a 35 millimeter film is different. There's like you can almost see the frames moving in some ways.
I know.
Like there's almost there's almost like this flickering that your eyes are just not accustomed to that anymore. If you go to the movies, you're watching everything digitally now. It's very interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Real subtle, but noticeable though.
Also, seeing it in a theater on a booming sound system really added to the texture and tone of the movie. I thought so many people told me this is the quietest movie they've ever seen in the theater. And while I agree with some aspects of that, some parts of the movie were very, very quiet. But it was a lot of scenes were sort of punctuated with these loud, screams or quick, booms of the soundtrack, and it really added to the overall tone of the movie.
Yeah. Guys, I gotta say, the very opening scene, the very opening moments, because I have terrible tinnitus right now, and I was not prepared for that scene because you're talking about the quietness of the movie. That the volume at that goes from about 2 to like 11.
Yeah.
And it kind of scared the fucking crap out of me. It was such a great moment. Like I almost knew, I knew from then on that this was going to be a solid horror movie based on that very opening moment alone when he goes, "I'm wearing my long legs today," or whatever he says. And it's just like, oh my God, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it was so good. It's like, wow, first scene, we're already getting sort of a glimpse at the killer. They're not going to go with that angle of who the killer is, right away.
Yeah, there was just a creepy music cue by Zilgi, who actually is Osgood Perkins' brother, Elvis Perkins. He goes by Zilgi for this soundtrack music, and yeah, the music was solid, man. Creepy.
And great, almost perfect name to go along with the movie. He has sort of this like rocker name. Yeah, I like that. I didn't know they were related. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's his younger brother. Yeah.
I saw this film at the Philly Film Festival with the Rennie Resmini family, the clan.
Yeah, very nice.
So yeah, me, Rennie, his wife, and his son came to the show. So it was it was very interesting, really fun, a lot of fun, and a lot of opinions were expressed after this film.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, of course, it's worth noting Osgood Perkins is the son of Tony Perkins, of course, of Psycho fame. He kind of looks like his dad, right? But I learned today, guys, actually, I did not know this, that his mom Barry Berenson was in one of the planes that hit the Twin Towers on 9/11. She died on 9/11.
Wow.
She was on the same plane coming from I believe from California. You know that story about what's his name from Family Guy not getting on the plane that day? I think that was the plane she was on.
Oh man.
Yeah. So she was killed on 9/11. How about that? I had no idea about that, about Osgood Perkins. Very interesting factoid. Terrible factoid. Mm. American
That's
Airlines
awful.
Flight 11. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Some
Yeah.
tragedy in the family, to say the least. You know, Tony Perkins, of course, died of AIDS in the early 90s, and the mother dies on 9/11. Wow. Mm.
Osgood Perkins is also, you might recognize his face from Legally Blonde. I didn't realize this. He was an actor as well. He did a little bit of
Yes.
acting. I saw this at the Alamo Draft House. It's the only theater I'll go to anymore. And they, the first 30 minutes before the movie starts, they play things tailor made to the movie you're about to watch. So they were showing a lot of collection of Osgood Perkins acting, because at first I didn't get it, and then my girlfriend leaned to me. She said, "It's like, that's the director of the movie we're gonna watch." I said, "Oh, okay." And they showed a lot of clips from some very weird movie he was in with Gary Busey, where Gary Busey is a human but he's a dog. I think it was called Quigley. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, he's got a lot of interesting credits. Yeah.
yeah, added to the overall strange tone of the movie. And of course, they played a lot of 70s rock videos.
Mm.
The name of the band I'm forgetting, but I know he stylized Longlegs after this guy who was in some sort of glam rock
T-Rex.
band in 71. T-Rex, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Which also played heavily into the movie. And, afterwards we were talking about the film. And one question that keeps coming up is, why the name Longlegs? And maybe you guys have a theory. I kind of came up with my own like little theory. Is like, Longlegs sounds like a dude, like say you're going into a music shop to buy guitar strings or something, and the guy working behind there, he's got like, some nickname like Spaz or Noodles or something like that.
Right.
And like Longlegs really struck me as that kind of a name. You know what I mean? Like some local dude who was in like a band, and like, that's his nickname. That's sort of what I came up with, because I couldn't find any other significance of the name Longlegs.
I think it could, again, like you're saying, potentially stem from his prior life, right? Of being a musician, or a failed musician, or someone who fancied himself a musician. I kind of like that take. There may be an actual answer out there. As we'll get into, this movie has 8 million YouTube like videos about it.
Yes, it does.
Tons of information. I feel like there's a new one every day. There's also an entire website that's adjacent to the movie that, again, I knew nothing about until after the fact, that talks about the murders in the movie and yada yada. But another interesting Osgood Perkins thing is that he was in Nope. He was the director that gets killed by the chimp, like that thing that they're trying to film.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
he
Okay.
played the director, Finn Bachman, which again, I learned today doing some research for the podcast. So yeah.
I did not know that at all. And Mike, Hill, you and I covered Nope, and we did. I don't think we caught that.
No, we didn't catch that at all. I did not. It went right by me, actually. Yeah.
And he did one episode of the new Twilight Zone from 2020. He was the episode called "You Might Also Like." He had a role in one of them, in one of the episodes, acting role. So yeah, he has not
this
hung up his acting shoes.
This might peg me as a xenophobe, but I did not like that most recent Twilight Zone.
Oh
yeah,
totally agree.
Bad things. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched like 1.5 episodes, and I was just like, this is not very good. So
yeah,
you know
I
what
never saw
though?
any of them.
I saw a few of them, and then years later, they were doing a marathon of the new season in black and white. And I got to say, it played way better in black and white. Still not great, but that's the way to see it. If you can get a black and white version of that show somehow, that's the way to see it.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I love black and white, so but maybe it's just me.
Yeah.
So this film, no, what can I say about this movie, man? The atmosphere for this movie was top notch, no doubt.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
was that's what initially grabbed me, was like there's just like this sort of cold vibe to it. It was dark, and there's like just this brooding tone throughout the whole film, which almost masks what I consider some of the poor writing in this movie.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's I'm gonna go off, just come out blazing with that right on this movie.
Okay. Well, I agree with you about the tone. One criticism I've seen of this movie is that it's just really an episode of CSI masquerading as an art film, but I think the tone of it and the directing is what elevates it above something like that. Like in another filmmaker's hands, maybe this would be some bland red box serial killer movie.
Yeah.
But Nas Perkins' hands, he gives it a very this sort of basic story. He makes it far more interesting and unsettling. So yeah, I agree. This is really like if you just watch it as like a mood piece, like and it's perfect.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm kind
And
of with you, Jeff. Yeah. I think that the first, I don't know, half hour, X amount of time, as I'm watching it, I'm like, wow, this is like the modern Silence of the Lambs for me. I was really into it actually, as a serial killer movie, because I just found Nicolas Cage to be so disturbing and so intriguing, and the mood and the vibe, and I had genuinely some great scares even early on in the film, but as it progressed, the satanic evil aspect came out, and I was like, okay, so you know, the Silence of the Lambs is kind of like what lures you in, so to speak, because I totally was had that movie in my head, and I actually love that movie, and obviously many people do.
Mm.
But it had this 2024 modern day horror darkness to it that say Silence of the Lambs didn't have, which kind of also intrigued me.
Yeah, and the satanic aspects too were a bit of a twist because I don't know if you were expecting something supernatural walking into this movie. I know I wasn't, so I was
I was
pleasantly
not, no.
surprised
Mhm.
in that when it started going in that direction and kept going in that direction. It wasn't a red herring; it was very much a part of the plot.
well,
Yeah, I did not know that at all. I thought it was a serial killer movie. So yeah.
Yeah.
interesting enough, there was an interview with Oz Perkins where he ironically wanted to make a mainstream movie and sort of
Mm.
make a send up of his love for Silence of the Lambs, and this is what came out, because he was like, all right, Black Coat's daughter, kind of like this sort of very brooding, like esoteric sort of vibe, not something for everyone, slow moving film. He wanted to make something that your regular Joe could get into, and that's what Longlegs was supposed to be. So it was actually, his intention was to make something that was like his version of Silence of the Lambs.
Mm.
I think he succeeded, man. Like
Yeah.
people at work like who aren't into this kind of thing have gone to see this movie. And it is, as we mentioned earlier, a big hit.
Yeah.
I don't know, people don't seem to like it that much. A lot of people don't want to go see it, but in a strange way, he succeeded in making a mainstream hit, maybe even like accidentally. Even though
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think tonally this matches Blackcoat's and thematically matches Blackcoat's daughter in a way that I think these two movies are linked.
Mm.
You touch on something good, because something interesting, because Black Coat's daughter obviously is about Satan. There's like a
Yeah.
heavy satanic element. Now this movie, theoretically, there's a satanic cult involved in this film. Now, when I was first watching the trailers, and when I first started seeing like the use of these symbols and everything, what immediately came to mind is that Swedish occult serial killer, Thurneman,
Ah, okay.
and his the magic circle, and they use that inverted triangle symbol And it was like a satanic murder cult basically. And that's what I thought this film was going to be, like a real exploration of darkness, and that maybe my sort of my expectation was
Mm,
superimposed over the film, because there was actually there was some humor in this movie too, which didn't really land with me for some reason, because I had this expectation that it was going to be this you know bleak, like, exploration into the satanic darkness.
mm. Yeah, yeah. You mentioned that real briefly when we were when you mentioned you saw this, and I saw it shortly after, and I really did see this as sort of an exploration of darkness. Like, it's part of the plot, but it's not the main focus of it. Which, again, at the end, left you sort of wondering more about the movie. That, like, what weren't we shown? What wasn't there? Like, you start sort of piece these things together in your head, like, like a movie like Kill List or something like that. And I kind of enjoy it. I like a movie you can really think about for, a night or a day, and you come to uh, a different understanding of the movie down the line.
I have a
Yes.
question for you guys. Oh, sorry.
Okay. No, go ahead. However, there
Um,
was the Scooby-Doo narrative dump at the end, though, which was like, the mother basically runs down exactly what's going on, so they really don't leave a lot for you to figure out.
That's true.
that
Yeah.
helped. Yeah, that helped a lot, actually. It answered a lot of questions. But the thing is, though, were you guys aware prior to seeing the movie? I was not, of all of this kind of like underground marketing that was going on. I mean, all I was aware of were the trailers and the really cool poster imagery that was on social media, Facebook and Instagram, like that were very intriguing to me. The
Yeah.
poster art for all these were amazing. I was completely unaware of this like separate website and like the symbology and you know what I'm saying? Like they they made like these YouTube pages and all that shit, which again, post viewing the movie, to me elevated the movie. Like, what did you guys think about all that?
Yeah.
I didn't know. Sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, no, I didn't know about any of that stuff, and I try to avoid, if I'm going to see something and I want to see it, I try to avoid everything. I'll see a trailer once, I won't watch it again. So I was unaware of this sort of almost Blair Witch type
Yeah.
advertising they were doing for the movie, and I just try to avoid that kind of stuff. But I probably watched some of the same videos you did today, Mike, and yeah, like, so I was like, really, I didn't know about that at all.
Yeah, there's so much information. I don't even know if we could cover all the information that's out there about this movie. Um, which I don't know, man. I think that in a weird way made me like the movie more, because I walked out of the movie like, I don't know, I was just like the whole Hail Satan at the end. And I was just like, I don't know, isn't that a little corny? Isn't that a little on the nose? Like, isn't that a little like goofy for such a serious movie? Like I thought, you know?
Yes.
Um,
Also, kind of goes back to the way Black Coat Daughter ends. Very similar endings.
hmm. But again, thinking on it more and reading on it more and just ingesting more information, I kind of put aside thinking that that was really hokey and silly, and was like, you know what, it kind of made sense. Like Longlegs is a character whose whole, basically his whole life for the last X amount of years or whatever has been devoted to Satan, basically, we learn. And that even his look, you again, you only learn this in your research, is that the reason he looks like that is because he wants to look good for the devil.
Mm.
Um,
Interesting.
so
Yeah.
yeah, that's why he looks like that. He wants to
Um,
look pretty. Like it's weird. It's so weird. And like the references to the man downstairs. Well, he was the man downstairs. He was in the fucking house, you know. But it
yes.
also is an allusion to Satan, of course. I'm getting a little ahead here, but again, I didn't feel like the writing was poor. I was pretty fucking roped in, man. I was like, I didn't get up to pee even this fucking movie. You know what I'm saying? Like I was
Right.
glued to the movie.
Mike Hill, you touched on something that I'm curious about. You said that there was humor in the movie that didn't land with you. Now, it's been about 3 or 4 weeks since I've seen this. I don't remember this movie being funny at all.
There were things about it that were like humorous though. Like there were some of the
Mm.
scenes with Nicolas Cage where
Oh,
I
yeah,
thought
yeah.
were kind of funny, and also when he goes into the convenience store and he's like hassling that like young girl that works there. It's kind of
Yes,
funny.
that was
you know?
funny. Yes.
The
When she
Director's
says,
daughter.
"Dad," yeah,
yeah, she's
that's
like,
Yeah.
Oscar
Dad, that
Pereira's
guy's
daughter.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
And
funny.
then, when Lee Harker is introduced to Carter's daughter, there's like
hmm
this awkwardness in the bedroom, which is it's kind of humorous. What I mean? It's like
That
funny.
was funny too. Those were the two scenes, Mike. You read my mind completely.
You know,
Those were
and
the two
and
humorous scenes.
and the thing is like the character of Harker wasn't really developed well enough, I thought. Like, there's nothing to lead you to believe that she's
Mm.
like any kind of like, competent FBI agent, really. It's I guess that maybe that is the point, is that her clairvoyance is what elevates her, into being someone who would be put on a high profile case like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I found the way she played the character kind of interesting, like she like in all of her scenes, she feels like she's about to snap, like she's very, very tense. And in that
Mm.
opening scene where they're tracking another killer, she has to draw her gun, and you really hear her like, unsteady breathing, and you can really see it all over her face how terrified she is. Like like she played this character, yeah, not as like Clarice Sterling, or whatever the fuck her name is. She didn't play it like that. Played it
No,
as very, very like worried, timid, and I almost wondering, it's like, how did she get this job?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah.
I read somewhere that her character might have mild autism. Did you guys read that anywhere?
I
It's
read
like
it.
the character.
Watching it, I got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah. So that's
yeah.
yeah. I think actually, if that's the case, then okay, that tracks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
No,
Functioning autism. Yeah.
I find it cool too that like you have a slightly clairvoyant agent, and that's not at all the focus of the movie. Whereas in another movie, that would be all over the place. Like this is, the clairvoyant agent who solves crimes using supernatural means. It's just sort of background stuff. And I like the more that it goes along, the more it sort of gets explained. Like she's not being so much guided by supernatural forces as it's just something that has touched her life.
Again, I think that's something that gets you in the door, as they say. Like her, you know, the killings and the serial killer aspect, and the fact that you're wondering about again how could someone like her have this job? You know,
Right.
um,
And
but the heart of the story is the supernatural. Yeah.
as far as those scenes you mentioned that were humorous, I also found them like necessary to the movie, where like she's awkwardly meeting her boss's family. She mentions, "Are you going to come to my birthday party?" Which is, maybe you don't realize it at the time. I did. It's a bit of exposition. Like this is going to come back. This is
yeah,
important to the plot.
it's foreshadowing. Yeah, definitely.
And after that meeting with Longlegs and the girl at the hardware store, convenience store, or whatever, you see him in the car. And yeah, you're thinking about it now. It's very funny. He's driving the car and sort of yelling to himself, "Daddy," like mocking the little girl. But later you see a scene with Harker driving a car screaming, and it's like a mirror image of a scene you already saw with Longlegs screaming in the car. Then a little bit down, 20 minutes later in the movie, you see Lee doing the same thing, which I found interesting.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's funny. Blair Underwood was really cool in this. I thought he was great.
He's almost in
I
a different
actually was
movie.
very. What's that?
He was almost in like a different movie, like the straight guy part. You know what I mean? Which I thought the movie needed a little bit of a breather from this oppressively dark tone.
When we get towards the end, what happens with his family, I felt really bad because
Yeah.
I liked his family. I was like, oh man, this is brutal. You know, I felt terrible.
100%.
Yeah, that mechanism I thought was interesting with the dolls, and it's yeah, that delivery of the doll is what is the sort of propagates this evil and
Yeah.
results in this behavior from the family, which
Mhm.
results in a murder suicide. I thought that was like pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
they
really
couldn't
like that
figure it
stuff.
out. Mhm.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
love the scene with the medical examiner, I believe it was, and they talk about the black ball that's in the doll's head, and the people know, like the FBI knows, well, there's nothing in them. But we as the audience are starting to figure out that that's indeed how this whole thing works. It's that black ball, and just that little line of the medical examiner saying, "Yeah, it was weird. Started thinking about my ex-wife a lot. I hadn't thought about her in a long time."
Okay, guys, I got to ask about the medical examiner. Why was he so creepy? Like, did you notice how bizarre he was? Like, he was just so like, I don't know. I mean, he didn't act like a professional medical examiner in the slightest. Like, he just seemed very like uncomfortable and weird. Do you think he was perhaps touched by some of this, maybe? Or
Yeah, absolutely.
mm,
Yeah.
mm, okay,
I think the
yeah,
proximity of the doll with the metal ball in its head is what was making him like Jeff was saying, he started thinking about his ex-wife. It's like,
mm,
yeah, that part I thought was interesting. I like that part because it's like almost like this kind of weird fiction, like Legati-esque sort of thing with like
okay,
there's like this doll, there's nothing inside, but there's this like darkness that's pushing it forward into the world. I don't know. That I thought was awesome. That part was cool. Like that, and that's
mm.
basically a doll with an empty ball in its head, and just
Okay. 2 points
belief.
though.
Yeah.
Like regarding the doll, would it have been better if the like okay, so we learned that it's Satan basically regarding the doll. That's you know what I'm saying, like the spirit of the devil is inside the doll. Would it have been more interesting had it had been, say, an unknown kind of evil entity where the movie ends and we don't know what is like, you know what I'm saying, like it's still the doll that's still there, right?
Hmm.
But it's not necessarily the devil, like
Mm.
it's just kind of an evil entity that like the doll's presence is there, and the doll in the house or the apartment or whatever is the reason why the killings begin, but the explanation behind the doll is not the devil. Like, would the movie been a completely different movie?
That's where I
Uh,
hope. That's where I wished it would have went. Actually, is
Hmm,
I
okay.
wish that it would have went in a direction like that, and I thought that's where it might have been going with the doll because it's like the idea of like having Satan. Like we talked about how like Hail Satan is kind of cheesy. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
sort of like obvious, but it's like the philosophy that any kind of human abstraction about any kind of entity is like limited, but the dark forces that are beyond that these ideas of gods and devils and Satan and all this stuff
Mhm.
is like limited by our minds, but the darkness is like another dimension above all that stuff that is driving all these things into our own reality. And like that's kind of where I felt like the movie might have been going with the dolls when the medical examiner revealed that there was nothing inside the balls. And I was just like,
Right.
yeah, okay, there's like this dark force that's pushing everything, and it's like that's when I don't know if that was the intent of the film, but like that was where I was hoping it was going, and that when this tulpa, this like, material thing is
Mhm.
placed within these families, it creates like a portal for this thing to step into our dimension to create all this chaos. Like that's in my mind, that's what I was hoping that Oz Perkins was trying to like communicate with us instead of just, hail Satan, what I mean? Which is
Yes,
cool, but
that might have
like
been cooler.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that might have been the point of the film. Maybe I need to watch it again and see if that really was where he was going with it.
Yeah,
And
I can
the other
agree.
point I wanted to make, I'm sorry, was that eh, during these points in the film, I got Twin Peaks vibes. Did you guys?
Mm-hmm. Oh, to the max,
Yes.
dude. Yeah,
Mm.
definitely.
There is, like, and again, talking about the humor, I was just reminded of the scene where they go to the mental hospital, and you get that quick scene with the whatever he is, the warden or whatever, and
Mhm.
it is a very funny scene and almost something right out of Twin Peaks because it's so tonally different than the rest of the movie. Where she's like,
Mhm.
shouldn't you like look at an ID when someone
Yeah.
signs in? And he goes, yeah, that would be a pretty good idea. you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I get it. That something you totally hit it right there. That is very, very Twin Peaks.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, a lot to like, but a lot to critique, Michael. Yes,
That
you know?
that's my vibe, man. It's like I wanted, I guess like I was so looking forward to seeing this film. And I'm glad. I mean, I have I'm kind of up in the air about how my overall rating or feeling of this film would be because there's I just need someone to tell me that like the thing I need someone to be like, you know what, Mike, that thing you were thinking, that's what they were trying to tell you. And if that was true, then
Mm.
I would love the movie. You know what I mean? But if they're like, nah, that really you're off in another left field, I'm like, oh, well, whatever, fuck you. You know, like that's the kind of vibe I have about it.
Right. I mean, that is it a good thing that there's 500 YouTube videos that
Yeah.
that have great info on this movie? Or would you rather a movie that doesn't require a separate website to understand? You know?
Yeah,
What do you think about
yeah. Like I said, I like something that doesn't really quite give you all the answers, and you connect the dots later down the line, or maybe after a couple more viewings. Only
Yeah.
seen this once, like 3 weeks ago, so it's not totally fresh in my head. Um, but yeah, I mean, I just personally enjoy stuff like that. I really like a little ambiguity in a movie, or a little like, oh, that wasn't fully explained. Um, like we're told it's the devil, but is it really the devil? Is it like a devil's minion? Is it some demon we don't know about? It's not totally explained.
Yeah, and that's what makes this a really interesting movie, man. I need to see it again. I'm going to see it again. I might not see it in the theater. I might, wait a little bit and watch it at home, to be completely honest, to get, you know, a good home viewing in it, because I did enjoy my theatrical experience. Um, it definitely has. It's got legs, right? It's a
Yeah.
movie with many tentacles and legs, and you know, I do like the fact that there's websites and theories and an ass ton of, YouTube hosts and commentators talking about it. And then there's ones that give you 10 facts you didn't know, and then 10 more facts you didn't know. It's just like,
Mm,
I kind of like that a lot. That's the sign of a good movie. I mean, geez, at the very
yeah,
least, you don't have to have liked the movie, but you have to say that there was a lot of thought put into it. And that, to me, I think it's an original film. I actually do. It's got Twin Peaks nods. It's got Silence of the Lambs nods, but I think it's its own fucking beast. I mean, it's again something that I've kind of thought about every day for the last 2 weeks.
yeah. I'd like to know what you guys thought of Nicolas Cage in this movie as
Mhm.
the titular character, Longlegs. Nicolas Cage is quite a controversial actor. In some ways, people either like him, people hate him. He's an actor people have opinions on, and I'm sure there's a lot of different opinions about him as this character. And I was just curious what you guys thought about him and this performance in particular.
I
You go,
love
Mike.
Nicolas Cage. I'm a fan. I'm a mark for his work. And I thought he was great in the movie, man. I think that he's the only guy who could have pulled that off, really.
Yeah.
Mm. I thought he was fucking awesome. Um, you know, he it's his first serial killer role. He actually went on record saying he will never play a serial killer role again, which is interesting.
Mm.
And then I believe he said he will not do this role again. Uh,
Good.
Oh.
Yeah, that's good.
yeah. But the thing is, I mean, who knows? People change their mind. Something me and John Draper were talking about today is that he thinks Osgood Perkins is the kind of director that would never do a sequel. So he does not think, according to my brother, he doesn't think there'll be any more of this. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
$100 million box office says to me that we probably maybe have not heard the last of this. You never know. It would be kind of cool if we did, like if this was it, you know what I'm saying? I do know Osgood Perkins has another movie done already, apparently, the Monkey, or almost done, which is the Stephen King
Yeah.
adaptation, which should be fucking awesome. It's coming out in February of 2025. So yeah, I would say it's probably done. Might be editing now. Um, he's a guy who seems to go forward, but as far as, again, Nick Cage, I thought he was fucking great as a serial killer. I thought this role was, it spooked me, man. I was really fucking creeped out by Longlegs in that opening scene in like the field, and just, I don't know, man. Got creep vibes. I thought he was wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, I thought he was great. Great use of a wacky Nicolas Cage performance, and he's barely in this movie. Like
Correct.
maybe
That's right.
10 minutes of screen time at the most, and so effective and such a just unsettling character. The way he plays it, man, I thought this is like a top 10 Cage performance for me. I really liked him in this, and as far as sequels go, I kind of agree with you, Mike, that like money talks, and we weren't ever going to get a Joker 2, and then Joker made $1 billion, and now we got Joker 2 coming out this year, so anything's possible. But in a weird way, this movie feels like a prequel in a ways to Black Coat's daughter. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do get another film that's not a direct sequel to Longlegs, but more of set in that same sort of universe, or using the same themes. I wouldn't be surprised if Oz Perkins goes back to this well for inspiration for a movie that has some sort of loose connection to Longlegs, much like Longlegs has a sort of connection to Blackcoat's daughter. At least in my mind, it does. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm way off with that, but I think the films are linked. So I would expect to see something in this universe again.
Yeah, interesting.
That's an intriguing thought, and something that I actually do hope is true, because I think you're onto something about these concepts. Conceptually, Blackcoat's daughter and Longlegs being connected. I like that idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did you guys think of the rather bleak ending? I liked the ending overall. The scenes, of course, leading up to the Hail Satan moment. The scene in the house with her partner Blair Underwood and his family. I like that it kind of, spoiler alert, of course. It ends that like her and the daughter are trapped, basically. Like they can't leave, and they don't leave. It's got this very kind of like downbeat, almost 70s movie ending. What do you think?
Yeah, like they seem to win, but have they really won? Like it is somewhat of an ambiguous. Like if this movie just ends, like I was like, oh, that's it. I do like that. Like it's okay. This story has been wrapped up. What now? What's next for these characters? It looks pretty bleak for them.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was the perfect ending for this. I absolutely loved it. Mike Hill, what do you think?
I love the ending. The ending was great. I also agree with you that whatever dark force that was being manifested has been unleashed into the world. I feel like that's what the ending is. It's not like it ends once long, because there's an implication that Longlegs is part of some group, like a larger organization of satanic cultists, and I would like to think that through whatever means they were able to have this chaos be implanted into these people so that they do these murder suicides. That energy is in the world as a result of all that stuff, and that even though Longlegs has been killed, that energy is let loose in the world, and it's going to be manifested somewhere else.
Right. Yeah. Longlegs himself even says there'll always be parts of me out there.
Yeah, see, that's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
I didn't the mother also say that if they do it like the way they did it basically means that it's it's kind of too late. Like I think the way that they killed the doll or whatever they killed the mother and they killed the police detective and family that wasn't kind of enough basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she can't kill the doll. Like she points her gun at it and the gun
Right.
doesn't fire.
Yep. Mhm.
I liked that. Was she out of bullets? Is there some sort of force stopping her from shooting this thing? Well, don't know. I really like that.
Yeah, so I like the idea of there being some other movie come out with the same premises that's not like a sequel per se, or you know what I mean? Like just a universe, like a world that has this energy in it. I think it'd be really cool.
Mm.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'm fully convinced we'll get that movie at some point. Oz Perkins is about to become like the hottest new young director on. Well, he's not that young. I think he's about my age. Um, on the scene, and I think he's going to get a lot of clout to do whatever he wants. And like you said, he's doing a Stephen King movie next that
Mhm.
probably will do good. Who knows? So yeah, we'll see. But I would not be surprised if we get more of this Hail Satan sort of universe.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the thing though. Scoring this film, I was definitely a little conflicted as to what kind of score I was going to give it. Um, but I will say that I have landed on 4.5 out of 5. How about that? Almost perfect. Like, uh,
Um, okay.
that's what I'm giving this bad boy.
Um, I'll go next because Mike Hill, I'm very curious about yours, so I want to get mine out of the
Mhm.
way. I was not conflicted. I walked out of the theater loving it. I woke up the next day loving it. This is my number one of the year so far, so
Oh,
it's a solid 5 from me. This movie works so well, just as a mood piece. I just love like just scenes of someone sitting there and you can't help but like look around in the background and looking for things.
Mm.
And just every shot of this movie is so beautifully composed. I love that, even if they're doing a close up, feels like there's like a distance, almost like the camera is set maybe a foot further back than it normally would be. I don't know,
Mm.
maybe that's just me. Every choice was the right one. I felt like, and I couldn't really find anything really that wrong with it, man. I absolutely loved it. So
Yeah,
that's a 5 for me.
my conflict was not if I liked it or not. My conflict was what to score it. So I just wanted to
Yeah,
make
yeah,
that
yeah.
clear. Um,
Gotcha.
you know, I, I it could go to 5, but right now it is 4.5 out of 5. Yeah.
Mike Hill.
I liked it. I think it's awesome that the movie is successful. It was a good viewing experience. The atmosphere was a 5. The atmosphere and tone of the film was a 5.
Mhm.
Um, Jeff, you touched on it when you said if there was if this script had been directed by someone else, it might be a disaster, this movie. But so that and some of the concepts in it, like the conceptual stuff, at least that I was reading in the film, was awesome. But some of, like I said, I had problems with the Scooby-Doo part,
Mm,
a little bit of the humor didn't really land with me so much. But I still gave it a 4. I still give it a 4 out of 5.
Ah,
okay.
that's
It
solid. That's
it
great.
started
You know?
it started the days after I saw it was a little bit lower than that. But the more I thought about it and the more I was trying to, and I did think about it quite a bit. Um, it elevated itself because I started really thinking about, like, why did Oz Perkins cop out with the Hail Satan stuff? You know what I mean? Because
Mm.
Black Coat Starter, there was no actual Hail Satan moments in there. You know what I mean?
Oh, there was one. I just rewatched it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I
Um,
missed it. I missed it up until my most recent viewing myself.
so yeah, maybe I should revisit it too because that movie's brilliant. But the idea of letting loose this chaotic force into the world that both films sort of have in it, is intriguing to
Mhm.
me. And I think and that's what brought the score up for me from 3.5 to 4.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
That-
Before we wrap it up, I did also like there's like kind of a backlash to this movie too amongst horror fans. Have you guys noticed that?
No, I
No.
haven't paid attention to anybody.
Yeah, I just just kind of flipping through YouTube or like reviews after I saw the movie. This is marketed as the scariest movie in the last 10 years, and I think whenever film marketing does that kind of stuff, there's going to be an inevitable backlash of people sitting there with their arms folded saying, "Oh, that wasn't fucking scary." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't fault the movie for that kind of stuff. The marketing. Oh, this is the scariest thing ever. You'll fucking puke when you watch it, or whatever people say. But yeah, maybe it's not the scariest. It's more creepy
Mm.
than scary, and it's more about atmosphere and tone than something jumping out at you. And that's the kind of stuff I like. And thematically, this is a scary movie. Like you were saying, that the evil is out there. That to me is what's really scary. Not someone jumping out behind a curtain with a knife. That's cheap to me. Uh,
For me, it's the scariest movie of the year so far. It's definitely scarier than Late Night with the Devil. Which is one of the main attractions of the year. Again, that opening scene fucked my shit up. I'm 51 years old. And I when a horror movie does that, I don't forget it. So, um, yeah. So I like the scariest movie in 10 years, or whatever, because I think there's something there to it. It is a very scary movie. At least to me, it was a scary movie. So
yeah, yeah.
I'm okay with that. Mm.
Yeah. I think it was more there's a sense of dread in the movie as opposed to straight up scariness. Like there's definitely moments that, freak me out.
Mhm.
Creepy and a sense of this impending dread is what really the film to me has.
Yeah. And if I was in the grocery store and I ran into someone who looks like this guy, I'd be very fucking creeped out.
Yeah, I'd leave. I wouldn't want to be around that dude.
Oh my
100%.
God. I had a thought. The potential for Halloween costumes this year of people going
Oh
as
man.
Longlegs. That'll
Oh
be
hell yeah.
horrifying.
Yeah,
That's a
totally,
big
man.
big
If people
commitment
really
for a
do a good
Halloween
job.
costume. Yeah. I fucking love it.
Imagine you're on the
Yeah.
subway, or bus, you see that? Jesus Christ, come on. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it / dreading it.
Well, I think we got it, guys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that was a good one. And thanks for taking time out and getting all three of us together. That sometimes could be challenging. So that was awesome.
Yeah,
Hell
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And look forward to doing one of these in October again, and our annual end of the year wrap
Yeah,
up
yeah.
sometime in December. Always look
Mhm.
forward to these three-man episodes.
Oh yeah. And
I think
dudes,
we'll probably do it for Terrifier 3. What do you think?
Yeah,
yeah.
nope. I haven't seen one. I haven't seen one or two yet.
Oh no, that's right. Oh my God.
I do not like that kind of stuff, man. I really
Uh,
don't. Oh, maybe that'd be more interesting though to have the honor. I have not seen the first two and not liking those kinds of horror movies.
oh wow. I was not aware you hadn't seen the others. Holy shit, Jeff. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna get my horror card revoked for that.
Well, I'll say this. They're disgusting movies. So yeah, I can hear you. I hear you.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued, man. I keep hearing like they're not what you think, and they are what you think, but
Well,
there's more to it than that.
the first one
Right.
is definitely what you think. The second one was impressed me with the world building, honestly. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah. Bigger scope.
Yeah. And it's very intense, like New Jersey love in the second film. And the first
Oh,
one too, I
totally.
guess.
Yeah. Very Jersey. Very Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I'll watch them in reverse, like three,
You
two,
should
one, or something.
you should watch them in New Jersey and maybe you'll
Mm.
I will.
All right.
All right, guys. And thanks for listening, everyone. And we'll talk to you next week. Take care now.
Take care.
Bye.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Necro. Oh, fuck that shit. All right.
Oh, yeah,
Good
it
evening.
dropped out. I heard that one.